On the night the police broke into the small pink house in Missouri, they were not prepared for what they would find. A young woman they believed was sick, disabled, and possibly murdered was suddenly very much alive. Her wheelchair was empty, her feeding tubes were gone, and on Facebook, a chilling message appeared on her account: "That bitch is dead." What seemed like a brutal murder mystery quickly transformed into one of the most disturbing psychological crime stories in modern history: the story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. From the outside, the house looked like something from a fairy tale. Pastel pink walls, white fencing, a neat little ramp leading to the front door. Neighbors described it as the home of a loving mother and her tragically ill daughter. Dee Blanchard was known in her community as a devoted caregiver. Her daughter Gypsy, everyone believed, suffered from leukemia, muscular dystrophy, asthma, epilepsy, severe allergies, developmental delays, and the mind of a 7-year-old child. Gypsy was often seen in a wheelchair, with a shaved head, oxygen tank, and feeding tube. She spoke in a high-pitched, childlike voice. She appeared fragile, innocent, and completely dependent on her mother for survival. The two received endless sympathy and support. Charities donated money, churches raised funds, celebrities met them, even Habitat for Humanity built them a custom home. Doctors treated Gypsy for years, performing surgeries, prescribing powerful medications, and inserting medical devices into her body. No one questioned Dee. She seemed knowledgeable, organized, and fiercely protective. If any doctor doubted Gypsy's conditions, Dee would simply move to another hospital. Behind closed doors, however, reality was very different. Gypsy could walk, she did not need a wheelchair, she was not mentally disabled, she was not dying. She was being slowly imprisoned. From the time Gypsy was a toddler, Dee began fabricating illnesses. At first, it was small things, claiming Gypsy had trouble breathing, saying she suffered from seizures. Over time, the list grew longer and more extreme. Dee convinced doctors that Gypsy had muscular dystrophy, leading to the wheelchair. She said Gypsy had leukemia, leading to chemotherapy. She claimed Gypsy couldn't eat, leading to a feeding tube. Gypsy underwent unnecessary surgeries, lost her teeth, took medications that weakened her body, and was constantly told she was sick. But the most powerful weapon Dee used was not medicine. It was control. Gypsy was isolated from the world. She was told she was younger than her real age. Her birth certificate was hidden. She was homeschooled. Dee controlled her internet access, her phone, her relationships. She shaved Gypsy's head to make her look like a cancer patient. She made her wear children's clothes even as she grew into a teenager. And whenever Gypsy tried to question her reality, Dee would threaten her. Sometimes with lies, sometimes with guilt, sometimes with physical abuse. Gypsy later revealed that her mother would tie her to the bed, starve her, hit her with objects, and threaten to smash her fingers with a hammer if she tried to escape. Dee told her that no one would believe her, that doctors trusted Dee, that the police trusted Dee, that the world saw Dee as a hero. And for years, Gypsy believed it. The turning point came when Gypsy secretly gained access to the internet. On a hidden laptop, she discovered social media, chat rooms, and for the first time, people who spoke to her like a normal human being. That's when she met a young man named Nicholas Gojon. Nick was socially awkward, lonely, and had his own mental health struggles. But to Gypsy, he was something she had never experienced before, someone who listened, someone who believed her, someone who didn't see her as sick. Their online relationship quickly became intense. They talked about love, marriage, and escape. Gypsy told Nick the truth about her life, the fake illnesses, the abuse, the control. At first, Nick was shocked. Then he became angry, not at Gypsy, but at Dee. As their conversations continued, they began discussing a terrifying idea. If Dee died, Gypsy would finally be free. At first, it was fantasy, then it became planning. Gypsy felt trapped in a body and life that did not belong to her. She believed that the only way out was through her mother's death. She was too physically weak and psychologically conditioned to do it herself. But Nick said he would. In June 2015, Nick traveled to Missouri. Gypsy let him into the house while Dee slept. She gave him gloves. She gave him a knife. Then she locked herself in the bathroom and covered her ears. Nick stabbed Dee Blanchard to death in her bed. Afterwards, the two fled to Wisconsin, thinking they had finally escaped. But Gypsy made one critical mistake. From her laptop, she posted the message that would bring the police to her door: "That bitch is dead." Within hours, the internet exploded. Neighbors feared Gypsy had been kidnapped or murdered. A nationwide search began. When police found Gypsy alive and walking, the truth slowly unraveled. The world was stunned. The sick child was not sick. The devoted mother was not a hero. The kidnapping victim was actually free for the first time in her life. But freedom came with handcuffs. Gypsy was charged with second-degree murder. Nick was charged with first-degree murder. During interrogation, Gypsy told everything: the fake illnesses, the years of abuse, the psychological imprisonment. Doctors testified that Gypsy had no medical conditions requiring treatment. Experts confirmed that Dee suffered from Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a disorder in which a caregiver fabricates or induces illness in someone to gain attention and sympathy. Public opinion shifted dramatically. Many people did not see Gypsy as a killer, but as a victim who had been tortured into desperation. Some called her a survivor. Others argued that murder could never be justified. In 2016, Gypsy accepted a plea deal and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Nick received life in prison without parole. Behind bars, Gypsy experienced something completely new: autonomy. She chose her own clothes. She ate real food. She walked without fear. She spoke in her natural voice. For the first time, she learned what her real age was. She learned how to be an adult. She learned how to exist without her mother. And in 2023, after serving 8 years, Gypsy Rose Blanchard was released from prison. The girl, once believed to be terminally ill, walked out into the world as a free woman. But her story does not end with freedom. It ends with a haunting question: how many doctors missed the signs? How many institutions failed to protect her? How many times did society reward abuse because it looked like sacrifice? Gypsy did not grow up in a normal prison. She grew up in a loving-looking cage. And when she finally broke out, it took a murder for the world to realize the truth.